Good day, class. So, as we start the fourth quarter for the second semester, we are now beginning with a new topic on animal and plant processes. Lesson 1 is all about reproduction. Now, reproduction has been a topic that has been mentioned multiple times during the first quarter and second quarter, specifically about cells. Now, with regards to your cells, again, it's the basic unit structure of life, and please do take note of that because we will be encountering lots of this as we go along with the next lessons that we will be discussing in Gen Bio 2 for the fourth quarter. Now, going to the actual discussion, reproduction basically is defined as procreation or breeding. It is also known as the biological process by which new individual organisms, known as offspring, are produced from their parent or parents. And that's right. There can be one parent or a single parent only, and can be able to reproduce. Now, this is true the two types of reproduction or two forms of reproduction: sexual and asexual. Asexual reproduction, from the word itself, asexual, you have here the prefix a or a, or which forms the word asexual. A means the absence. So absence of sexual activity and sexual reproduction. Now, what does that mean? Meaning it is a type of reproduction without the involvement of genetic exchange between two parents. Meaning there is no sex cell involved from the parents, mainly the male and female sex cells, sperm and egg. There only one parent is involved. So in short, asexual reproduction is the absence of sexual activity and sex cells, mainly your sperm and your egg, also known as your gametes. Alright? Now, your sexual reproduction naman, on the other hand, requires the participation of two sex cells from a male and a female parent, respectively, through the process of fertilization. Again, fertilization is the result when a sperm and the egg unite, or these gametes fuse together. And when the male sperm and the female egg is basically fused together, they form a zygote. And the formation of a zygote basically is what you call fertilization. Alright? So, now that we have cleared these terms up, let us go further with the different types of asexual reproduction first. So, we have first here budding. Basically, let me read the definition first. Budding is the form of asexual reproduction wherein an outgrowth or callus projecting from the parent organism that eventually buds off. Meaning, there is a callus or an outgrowth in the exterior of the parent will be projecting outward. Okay? Notice here, I have an example here. This is what you call a hydra. Hydra, hydra. It is basically a marine organism that attaches itself sa solid surfaces such as rocks and other corals sometimes. Okay? What do they do? Specifically, more on the side of rocks, they would attach themselves there at yun yung magiging place of habitat nila. Now, how would a hydra reproduce? Through asexual reproduction. Notice here in the first part, there is a tiny bump that appears on the parent hydra that will develop later on into your bud. Okay? So, the parent hydra will now develop a bud. Notice here, para bang may mini version si hydra dito na naka-attach sa kanya. Until such time, it will continually grow until it is ready to break off. Once it breaks off, this hydra will now implant itself into new rock surface, and it will live independently by surviving by itself, not depending already on the parent hydra. Okay? Kasi dito, kung naka-attach siya dito, all the nourishment that the parent hydra would get, the bud or the offspring will also get. But in this case, the hydra that has broken off from the parent hydra would now be fending for itself, or will be handling itself for survival. Alright? So that is for budding. Now, for binary fission, basically the parent divides or separates into two more progenies. Basically, from the words of binary, bi, two. There are two products. Okay? Because fission means separation, produces two genetically similar offspring. Like in the case of budding, these two types of asexual reproduction are also forms of natural cloning. How come? Natural cloning, remember, a clone is an exact genetic copy of the organism from its parent. Now, in the way of natural cloning, basically, look at this. In a binary fission, I have here an amoeba. An amoeba is a single-celled organism that cannot be seen by the naked eye. Now, meron tayong isang, from first step to second step, notice, dalawa na yung nucleus niya hanggang sa unti-unti na siya magde-divide and maging two identical daughter cells. And yes, this is exactly like the cell division we have discussed during the first semester. Literal na nahati sa dalawa. This is the most common way of reproduction by bacteria and other microorganisms. Alright? So basically, for binary fission, again, from a single organism, literal na mahati sa dalawa, making two identical daughters. Okay? And these two identical daughters will still divide at etong dalawa give rise sa dalawang panibagong amoeba. Ito naman dalawa panibago. So you now have 4 and so on and so forth. Ganyan din ang mode of reproduction ng bacteria. Alright? Now, next here I have fragmentation and parthenogenesis. Let's go first with fragmentation. From fragmentation, the parent breaks apart into several pieces. These pieces undergo regrowth in order to form an organism out of the fragments forms and always accompanies regeneration. Now, notice here, I have here a starfish as an example. One of its limbs, specifically the upper right limb, has been chopped off or has been severed or natanggal, nagdetach, naputol. Now, this severed part or that part na naputol will grow into a new organism, and the limb or yung limb na naputol dito sa starfish na naputulan ay magre-regenerate na ngayon. That is why fragmentation is always accompanied by regeneration. But what is the difference between fragmentation and regeneration? Please, we have to take note that in fragmentation, the piece that was broken off from the organism or the parent organism will develop into a new offspring. And the piece, yung pinanggalingan ng broken piece, will regenerate. Okay? But, paano yung regeneration? For example, you have a lizard. Diba, most common experience natin, if a lizard, pag naapakan natin, tas tumakbo siya, or naipit, tas tumakbo, napuputol yung buntot. There are some lizards that are able to regenerate their tail. But, yung naputol na tail, hindi yun magiging panibagong lizard. That's the difference between fragmentation and regeneration. Alright, so I hope that clears this up. Okay, now let's go to the next part. Parthenogenesis. What is parthenogenesis? Okay, this means the growth and development of an embryo can occur without fertilization. So, in short, yung eggs may develop a zygote and form an embryo without being fertilized. How is that possible? So, for example, you have here bees. You have your bees. Now, what do you call basically your ruler sa bees? Diba, you have your queen. The queen is basically the leader of the colony. What does the queen do? Her responsibility is to ensure that there is a future for her colony in terms of laying eggs. Siya ang responsible para paramihin ang lahi nila. Alright? So, what would happen here? Si queen, for example, you have here a male bee. Ngayon, si male bee, pag na-fertilize niya eggs na pinanganak ni queen, then, basically, kapag ang anak ay female, na sterile, yung isa sterile, wala siyang kakayahan mag-reproduce or baog, it becomes a worker. Okay? Sino yung worker? Anong ginagawa ng worker? Siya yung nag-responsible para mag-gather ng pollen at ibalik sa colony at mag-produce ng honey. Now, how about pag fertilized yung egg. Or, may kakayahan siya mag-reproduce. Both of them are products of fertilization, by the way. Kapag sterile si female na offspring ni male at ni queen, they become workers. Kapag may kakayahan mag-lay ng eggs, they become the next queen. Clear? Now, with regards to your queen, if it lays eggs, then there is no fertilization occurring, parthenogenesis happens. Okay? In this case, through parthenogenesis, the eggs will still hatch and become drones. Okay? Ano yung drones? Sila yung also part ng working team ng isang bee. Okay? Kasi, because of the process of meiosis, again, remember, in your cells, all cells in the body contain DNA, which is the main key point or the main framework na kailangan para mag-develop ang isang organism because they contain genetic instructions. Now, again, meiosis is for what? Sex cells. Mitosis is for body cells, correct? Now, with regards to this, in parthenogenesis, remember, may naglay ng egg and that egg contains already the genetic material. Now, pag nag-divide yung genetic material, yung nucleus inside, it becomes a multicellular organism sa loob ng egg na yun. At pag nag-hatch, magiging larva hanggang sa marireaching stage ng pagiging drone. Clear? So, in short, parthenogenesis happens when hindi na fertilize ang egg. Okay? Pero, it can become an organism even without the presence of another sex cell. Clear? Now, sir, are you saying na ang bees can reproduce by both means of sexual and asexual reproduction? Yes po. Both sexual and asexual reproduction na modes of reproduction nila. Alright? Now, let's continue. Here naman, in internal fertilization, again, in internal fertilization, it requires the union of the sperm cell and the egg cell. Now, it's already clear with us na it happens, it occurs, and you're already in a mature state to understand that sexual reproduction is part of nature's way of continuing life itself. Now, the difference between internal and external fertilization is simply internal fertilization is when there is syngamy or union ng male and female gametes occur inside the female body. In short, sa loob ng female body nabubuo ang embryo. Okay? Sa loob ng female body na-fertilize ang egg during insemination or yung pag-deposit ng male ng sperm niya sa body ng female during copulation or during sexual activity or intercourse. Unlike in external fertilization, for example, you have here a frog. The female frog, nakakita na kayo pala ka magkapatong. Usually, yung female frog is bigger and the male frog is smaller. What happens here? The female frog laid the eggs into the water and the male frog releases the sperm after ni female mangitlog. The male sperms will now swim going to the female's eggs which she deposited in water. So the eggs are fertilized outside of the female body. That is external fertilization. Alright? So now that we have established that, let's continue. So, part of the sexual reproduction are reproductive strategies. Basically, you have three terms here na medyo nakakabulol bigkasin sa una pero you'll get used to it. You have oviparity, ovoviparity, and viviparity. What are the differences here? Oviparity. Ovi, ovum, or egg cell. Diba remember, ovum is another term for egg cell. Now, oviparity. Take note of this. Anong shape ng egg ulit? Bilog. Oviparity is a reproductive strategy where the fertilized eggs develop outside of the mother's body. Yun yung palatandaan nyo ha. Ovi. O. Nangingitlog. May itlog na involve. So, nangingitlog ang parent. For example, birds, reptiles, and most fish. What happens? Yung itlog, pag nilay na ni parent, aalagaan niya at doon pala magde-develop ang embryo sa labas ng mother's body. Nagigets? I hope that is clear. Again, oviparity, it is when it involves laying of eggs and the fertilized eggs develop outside the mother's body. Okay? Paano naman to? Dito muna tayo sa viviparity, ba? Huli natin yung oviparity. Viviparity. Vivi. Tandaan nyo, Vivi. Sabihin natin maarte na kakaiba yung accent. Vivi, baby. Baby. Anong na-associate natin sa baby? Siyempre, baby, bata, nanganganak, pinanganganak, iniire. Now, viviparity involves animals carrying their young inside the bodies. So, palalakin sa loob ng sinapupunan, providing them nutrients through a placenta. And, ipanganganak ng live. Wala nang shell or egg na nakapalibot. Notice, walang O dito. So, ibig sabihin, hindi kasama dito yung mga nangingitlog na animals. Okay, so it mostly includes mammals such as humans, dogs, dolphins, cats, yung mga ganong organisms. So I hope that clears everything out for you between oviparity and viviparity. Now, paano naman to? Ovoviparity. Combination siya ng viviparity at oviparity. What do you mean by this? There is an egg involved. Yes, kasi may O na naman sa simula. Pero, paano yung VV? Ibig sabihin, sa loob na de-develop yung egg. Hindi kagaya ng oviparity, pinangingitlog ni organism yung egg at doon magde-develop outside. Dito naman sa ovoviparity, may involvement para ng egg, pero the eggs hatch inside the belly or the tummy of the mother. Okay? So, let me read the definition. In this reproductive method, embryos grow inside the mother, feeding on the egg yolk, not direct maternal nutrients. Okay? Offspring hatch inside the mother and born live. So, for example, sharks. Nakakita na kayo ng video ng shark na nanganganak, 'di ba? Now, if you haven't, try to search it on YouTube or try to look at it online. Now, sharks are considered fishes, not mammals, unlike whales and dolphins. Now, ano bang ginagawa ng fish? Nangingitlog, di ba? What do they do? And some snakes as well. In some sharks and some snakes and other insects, even other fishes, the eggs are fertilized inside and develop inside. Pero may eggs na involved. So, saan napipisa yung itlog? Sa loob ng sinapupunan ng mother. Okay? At ipanganganak nila yung offspring nila buo na. Kumbaga, na siya, fully developed na. Like in the viviparity. Diba? For example, manganganak ang cat ng kitten, fully developed na, meaning the kitten can now survive outside through the nourishment of the mother sa mammary glands niya. Pero in this case, mammals are not usually ovoviparous. Kasi nga, sila ay hindi naman nag-involve ng eggs. Hindi naman nag-involve ng eggs ang mammals. Pero ang ovoviparous na animals involve eggs. And once they hatch, they can already fend for themselves. For example, a baby shark can now hunt for his or herself. Okay? Now, I would like to correct the spelling. It's ovoviparity lang, hindi ovoviviparity. Aalisin natin yung isang X. Okay? So, hindi to kasama, ha? Yung isang V na syllable. Sorry for the typographical error. So, I hope you understand. And double check with your notes as well if I made a typographical error. But it should be ovoviparity. Alright? So, I hope this clears things up. And let's move forward with the next part. Now, in comparing sexual reproduction in plants, there are also both sexual and asexual reproduction in plants. Now, you have to understand that in plants, there is also a male and female organ. Okay? Kasi, meron tayong mga plants na, for example, let me skip this part po. Mga bisexual and unisexual flower tayo. How do we differentiate? A bisexual flower, dalawa. It contains both the male and female organ. What is the male and female organ? Okay? The male organ is your anther. Okay? Anther. Ngayon, the female organ is itong style. Okay? So imagine this. What happens? Kukuha ng pollen, yung pollen na i-release ng anther will be absorbed by the petal and petal, not petal, style rather, will be absorbed by the style through the opening, which is ang opening ng style yung stigma. So, re-receive ni stigma, papasok sa style, then ifo-fertilize nga yung mga ovules dito. The ovules will now develop into your seeds o mga buto. That is bisexual flower. Pag unisexual flower, it's either, ang meron lang siya, itong buong reproductive ng female, or meron lang siyang anthers and filaments. Okay? Itong stamen na tinatawag sa male organ. Baka ito lang meron siya, or baka ito lang meron siya. That's unisexual. Okay, so let us go back to the previous slide. So again, fertilization is the fusion of pollen, male pollen and female ovules. Okay, ovules again will form a zygote when there is a fertilized egg coming from the female and the pollen coming from the male. Basically, the male counterpart for the flower is yung stamen natin. Specifically, yung anther na siya magre-release ng pollen. So, yung pollen, yung parang sperm ng plants natin, ng flowers natin. Now, what do you call the process na pag-transfer ng pollen sa female stigma, which is yung pollination. Now, pollination occurs when the male pollen is transferred from the anthers going to the stigma or the female reproductive organ. Now, through wind, pag hinangin, okay, that is what you call a method of pollination. Pwede ring water, insects, birds, or other animals. For example, butterflies or moths. Okay? Anything na dumadapo sa bulaklak can get the pollen at pag nalaglag nila, pwedeng ma-absorb ng or mag-enter sa stigma ng female, fertilizing the eggs. Okay? Now, there's also what you call pollen germination, wherein the pollen forms a tube delivering sperm cell to the ovule. Germination meaning merong formation. Okay? Also, after nyan, magpa-fertilize na naman ulit. Okay? Fertilization occurs when the sperm cell fuses with the egg cell inside the ovule. So, pupunta ulit dito si pollen para ma-fertilize yung eggs. And once na-fertilize yung eggs, the zygote develops, become an embryo. And when the embryo continually develops, it matures into a seed. That is seed formation. Ngayon, pag mature na yung seed, it will now become dispersed or makakalat sila. Okay? Seed dispersal ang tawag doon. And under favorable conditions, for example, hindi tuyot ang lupa, the soil is also rich in nutrients necessary for the plant to grow, and there is no damage done, or kaya, for example, no other natural occurrences interfere sa pag-grow ng seeds. For example, hindi naman nakain ng ibon or hindi naman na-harm na ibang insects yung seed na disperse, then this seed will now grow into a new plant. Okay? So that is how sexual reproduction in plants occur. Now, how about for asexual reproduction? You have here a vegetative propagation. For example, ito yung ginagawa natin. Usually, naturo sa atin nung TLE natin o yung tinatawag natin on na technology and livelihood education such as marketing, grafting, budding, no, kung saan na may parent plant tayo. For example, puputulin natin yung stem na yan. At itong stem na to, ipaplant natin at tutubo na yung roots niya. So, that's part of vegetative propagation. Okay? Asexual lang tawag natin doon. Now, paano naman yung runners or stolons? Okay? For example, you have here a plant. What happens? Notice here, ito yung ugat niya. Now, may mag-outgrow dito. Tapos, ito yung runner or stolon, yung connection nilang dalawa. Mag-i-implant ng panibagong ugat and it will grow a new plant. That is what you call your new plant. And the connection here is your runner or stolon. Okay? Next, you have rhizomes, bulbs, tubers, and corms. Now, an example of a rhizome is your ginger o yung luya na tinatawag because they are underground stems that produce new shoots and roots. Okay, notice ang ginger, ang ginger o yung rhizome na tinatawag natin, ginger is a type of rhizome. Notice, nagsasanga-sanga siya. From one part, dumadami siya. Okay? Yun ang tinatawag nating rhizome. Ano naman ang corm? Okay? And bulbs, tubers. Ang tuber, for example natin dito, sweet potatoes or potatoes na tinatawag natin. Okay? Kasi may isa silang pinanggagalingan pero iba-iba silang structures. Notice, parang galing sa kamote. Ito namang bulbs, for example, ito yung underground storage niya, which is the onion bulb. Mag-grow ng leaves sa ibabaw. Okay? So, it's a type of asexual reproduction because, again, parang yung nangyari lang din sa hydra kanina, naalala nyo. Pero in this case, nakaruktong pa rin siya sa parent. Okay? Hindi siya kagaya ng isa na nagbabud off or nagbe-break off. Alright? So, now, let's go to basically how would we apply all of this sa reproductive system in humans. Siyempre, we have compared animal and plants. Now, we must also study the human reproductive system. Remember, humans are considered the highest form of animals. And especially in preparation for your medical field, some of you will be going into medical courses. Let's emphasize also the human reproductive system. Now, I'm sure you're well aware of the parts and how they function, but let us go over a deeper perspective how it happens. Okay, so first, in human reproduction, there is a liberation of an ovum or egg at a specific time in the reproductive cycle. What do you mean by this? May specific time lang naman kung kailan nag-ovulate si female at doon nagiging fertile kung tinatawag. Okay? Kasi kaya may tinatawag tayong cycle. O sa female, may menstrual cycle. There's only a specific time of the month na kung saan fertile si female at may kakayahan na mag-bear ng child. Okay? How about internal fertilization? Humans are reproducing through internal fertilization, meaning the ovum or the egg cell is fertilized by the sperm cell inside the female body. Okay? Then, there is transport of the fertilized ovum to the uterus or the womb. Saan ba usually na-fertilize? In the fallopian tubes. Okay? Then, the blastocyst or the early embryo is, yung tinatawag natin blastocyst, yun yung early embryo na kung saan meron na tayong developed na organism inside. Okay? Mag-a-attach siya sa wall ng uterus. Tapos mabubuo na yung placenta. Yung placenta is going to be the house or the livable sac na kung saan nandoon yung magde-develop ang embryo. It would serve as a protection filled with fluids para doon dumaan ang nourishment papunta sa child. Okay? Then, syempre, merong birth ng child at expulsion or paglabas ng placenta. Okay? And lastly, suckling and care of the child with an eventual return of the maternal organs to their virtual original state. Syempre, pag pinanganak na si baby, the baby would be breastfed, and syempre when a female becomes pregnant, the organs become or the other organs are stressed and pushed upward. Kaya usually a female sumasakit ang likuran and usually wala ganong appetite because usually nako-compress kasi there's pressure given to the other organs. Okay? So, let's go first with your male reproductive system. Now, in the male reproductive system, You have here your bladder. Basically, not necessarily involved siya directly with your male reproductive system, but it's there para makita nyo connected ang reproductive system sa urinary system. Kasi nga, our sex organs as well, the penis for the male and the vagina for the female are the passageway as well for urine, not just the sperm and egg. Okay, so it all begins with the testes. This is where the sperm is produced. Also testosterone, which is the male sex hormone. Now, the epididymis naman is where the sperm o na-produce na si sperm. Dito siya magde-develop. Okay? Diyan magmamature. Matututo mag-swim because they have a flagella. Okay? Diyan sila magsa-store until they ejaculate or sila ay lalabas na sa head ng penis. Okay? It passes through the vas deferens, which conducts the sperm from the testes to the prostate gland. Ngayon, ano naman tong seminal vesicle? Yung seminal vesicle na yan yung nagko-contain ng fructose. Ino-nourish yung sperm. Para saan? To provide it energy. And mababalutan na si sperm ng mucus. Para saan yung mucus? Because the mucus protects the sperm from the acidic environment of the uterus ng babae. Okay? Then there's the prostate gland. Secretes the alkaline fluid to neutralize vaginal acids. Ito yung sinasabi ko kasi may prostate gland tayo dito. Ito yon. Now, how do we remember? For males, usually the most common type of cancer here is prostate cancer. Okay? Now, for the prostate gland, once they receive the sperm here, dadaan na siya sa urethra, which is yung tubo, dyan din dumadaan yung urine, it expels out of the penis. Okay? Which is used for copulation or sexual intercourse and ejaculation. Ejaculation is the act where the sperm is exited outside the male penis. Okay? Now, kaya usually, kapag there's what you call from the word vas deferens. Ito, additional information, you have here the word vas deferens. Now, may procedure kasi for males, di ba? Ang kung females nagtitake na contraceptives para hindi mag-form ng baby, part ng family planning, males can also have a type of contraceptive or a procedure which we call vas, from the word itself, vas deferens, vasectomy. Sorry, medyo mabagal ang pagta-type. Pero, eto students, tandaan nyo, every time na may ma-encounter kayong word na ang ending niyan ay ectomy, usually it is for removal or prevention. Okay? Now, ano meron dito sa vasectomy? Para for everybody's awareness, it is a type of reproductive health na kung saan the male can still ejaculate during intercourse pero ang lalabas lang ay yung mga fluids. Okay? Yung mga fluids lang. Pero walang sperm na kasama sa fluids. But, what happens? Ikiklip to. Kiklip yan para hindi nadadaan si sperm at fluids lang ang lalabas coming from the prostate gland and the seminal vesicle. Okay? Hindi dadaan sa sperm. So, saan siya mapupunta? It would be where? Deposited na lang as waste product. Okay? So, it's a common procedure in men, but it's reversible. So, for example, after some time, nag-decide na si couple na ready na sila mag-baby, na-enjoy na nila yung married life nila, etc. Siyempre, kasama na doon yung preparation nila or yung planning nila. So, let's say they are ready to now to bear a child and si male, ipapa-reverse niya na yung vasectomy. Tatanggalin yung clip dyan at makokonect ulit yung dalawa. Alright? So, that's it for the male reproductive system. Now, I have here next the female reproductive system. So, I would explain it here first, coming from your ovary, which basically produces eggs and your female sex hormone, which is your estrogen and progesterone. Okay? So from your ovary, it goes to for example, the female is now fertile, magre-release ng egg, dadaan kay fimbriae, si fimbriae ang mag-capture ng egg coming from the ovary papunta sa fallopian tube. Okay? So si fallopian tube, siya yung nagre-receive ng sperm. Magta-travel sa sperm coming from the vaginal opening, going to the cervix, papasok, ito dadaan siya sa endometrium. Ito yung inner lining ng cervix. Okay? Sorry, not cervix, uterus, sorry, let me correct that. Inner lining of the uterus. So papasok siya dyan, dito pupunta sa sperm, na is usually dito magmi-meet sila ni egg. Hanggang sa ma-fertilize yung egg, and then what happens? Once na ma-fertilize yung egg, develop yung zygote, unti-unti yan after 3 days or so, mag-implant na siya sa endometrium. Okay? So again, the vagina is the passage for childbirth and menstrual flow. Cervix naman is the entrance of the uterus. And the uterus supports fetal development. Okay? Now, I have here a video on fertilization.
You release only a single egg each month. Your partner releases millions of sperm in a single ejaculation, all with an eye on that single prize. But only one of those sperm will be crowned the victor. As soon as one lucky sperm cell succeeds in penetrating the egg immediately undergoes a chemical reaction that prevents other sperm cells from following suit. Then, the chromosomes carried by the sperm and egg come together, and the egg is officially fertilized. The fertilized egg then begins a rapid descent to the uterus. Over the next 7 days, the human embryo undergoes multiple cell divisions in a process called mitosis. At the end of this transition period, the embryo becomes a mass of very organized cells, called a blastocyst. Once the embryo reaches the blastocyst stage, approximately 5 to 6 days after fertilization, it breaks out of its protective covering and begins the process of implantation in the uterus. To find out how your baby grows and develops each month, please watch my next video.
Okay, so going back, I'm going to play that video again, but I will narrate each and every step of the event. Okay, so first, you have here an egg that is going to be released, and the sperm is now traveling its way para ma-meet yung egg natin. Now, once the egg and the sperm meet, now only one sperm is able to penetrate, and notice here, the sperm will now deposit its genetic material, and the egg will now unite with the sperm, na kung saan yung genetic material na yon will now undergo mitosis. Okay? Basically, mitosis is a type of reproduction ng body cells. Okay? Now, as we go along, magta-travel na siya dyan sa uterus, and it becomes now what you call a blastocyst. Now, what is a blastocyst? It is a collection or clump of cells that is usually 100 cells 5 to 6 days after fertilization. Now, once that happens, it now implants itself sa uterine lining o sa endometrium natin, at dyan na mag-grow ang organ. Alright, so continuing our discussion on reproduction, I now have here the terms related to embryonic development. So let me enumerate it for you. You have gametogenesis. Basically, gametogenesis, basic from the words gamete and genesis. Gametes again are your sex cells. Genesis is the creation or beginning. Now, Basically, it is where the formation of gametes occur through cellular division, basically meiosis. Then you have spermatogenesis, basically a specific type of gametogenesis wherein the sperm are developed. And you have oogenesis, the formation and development of your egg cells or ova. Fertilization again is the fusion of your sperm and your egg, which gives product to a zygote. And you have embryonic development, an organized process called embryogenesis, or the creation of your embryo leading to a mature organism. And cleavage basically is a rapid division of cells. Mitotic cell division. Remember, mitosis is a type of cell division that is for body cells or somatic cells, which forms a multicellular ball mass. Then you have blastocyst, which is a stage in the embryonic development wherein there is only already 100 cells containing distinct inner cell mass forming the fetus. And lastly, gastrulation. Basically, it is where the basic body plan for the organism is done, wherein it is formed through the following germ layers. Okay, what are germ layers? Basically, it's the types or the forms. So for example, yung mesoderm, ectoderm, and endoderm, sila yung mga magfo-form ng mga different organs natin. Kumbaga, ma-assign na yung mga cells, sinong cells ang magpo-form ng digestive system, sino ang sa brain, sino ang sa heart, etc. Alright? Now, let us go to the next slide, which basically talks about the embryonic development. So, from the fertilized egg, you have your 2-cell stage, dalawang cells pa, hanggang sa maging 4-cell stage, 8-cell stage, 16-cell stage, until maging blastocyst siya, which is 100 cells. Then you have your fetus. Basically, this spelling, it may become confusing for you, but it's also an accepted spelling. But over time in the English American language, letter O was omitted, and we now spell fetus as fetus. But fetus can be also spelled as foetus. On 4 weeks, ito itsura niya. Then you have 10 weeks, 16 weeks, and 20 weeks, until such time the baby is ready to be born after 9 months of conception. So basically, that's all the discussion we have for reproduction. When you have any questions or clarifications, we can entertain and talk about this in the face-to-face classes. So if you don't have any more questions, thank you for listening, and please be ready for a short quiz next meeting. Right? Have a nice day, everyone.